Alright guys, so in my previous video I had talked about the 5 things that I wish I knew as a beginner, and one of them was bulking. In this video I'm actually going to go into more detail about bulking and how to bulk the proper way. First of all, I would like to address a misconception of bulking. So basically, many people think that bulking is about gaining weight. But that's not what we're trying to do here. We're not trying to gain weight. We're trying to gain muscle. Because if you think about it, weight could be in the form of fat or muscle. And we literally just trying to gain pure muscle, lean muscle tissue, instead of putting on any extra fat. Well, obviously you are going to put on a little bit of fat when you're bulking. That's just how it is as a natural. But most of it, um, I'm pretty sure that most of us would like to maximize muscle growth while minimizing fat gain. So in this bulking guide on how to bulk effectively and how to gain muscle effectively, I'll be discussing 3 key areas. Number 1, training. Number 2, nutrition. And number 3 is going to be recovery. Let's start off with training. I'm going to talk about this first because in my opinion, I think this is the most important aspect in order to gain muscle. The reason why I say this is because I know people say that mostly it's diet instead of training, but in my opinion, it's training. And let me tell you why. See, most fat people, they actually eat a lot, but why they're still fat? Because there's no why are they still fat, and why do they not gaining muscle and everything they're just gaining is fat? Simply because they don't have the stimulus. They're not stimulating their muscles, which is not helping it to grow. The first point that I have for training is that you must train hard. You must train with intensity. You're consuming all these calories for what? If you're not training hard, all those calories are going to go to waste. So it's essential that you train with proper intent and you actually train close to failure. I advise all you guys to train within 1 to 2 reps of failure. So yeah, basically, if you're not making ugly faces when you're if you're not making ugly faces while you're training, you're just not training hard enough. So here's a video of me training close to failure, and this is how most of your sets should be in order for you guys to maximize your muscle gain. The second point that I have for training is that you must follow a proper split. You can't just go into the gym and just do random workouts. You need to have a structured training program, and you need to know what you're going to do when you go into the gym that day. So examples of training splits could be full body workout 3 times a week, upper lower 4 days a week, upper lower push pull legs 5 days a week, and push pull legs 6 days a week. So for beginners, I advise you guys to follow a 3-day full body split. I mean, if you guys want, you guys can do upper lower 4 days a week or push pull legs 6 days a week. And this is just my advice. This is just my advice that, I just advise you guys to do 3 days, to start off with 3 days a week. So, it's much easier for you. You guys are beginners, so your body is not really going to be able to handle the stress if you guys do go 6 days a week. But that's just my opinion. If you guys want, just do try 3 days, just try all the splits, and then just see what works for you. So what my advice for you guys is, start with a 3-day full body split, and then work your way up from there. So for example, after 6 months on this full body split, you can start doing upper lower, and then probably 2 years on the upper lower split, you can move to push pull legs once your body gets used to all that training. Because if you start off with push pull legs 6 days a week, you're going to be sore all the time, and you're not going to be able to recover for workouts, recover in between workouts properly. That's why I advise you guys to start off with 3-day full body split. If you guys want a free program, just DM me on Insta, and I'll get to you guys. The third aspect of training in order to bulk, in order to gain muscle, I've already discussed this in my previous video, but I'll probably discuss it again. It's progressive overload. So progressive overload, let me just say it again if you guys didn't pay attention. So in progressive overload basically consists of increasing the volume and intensity of your workouts over time. So this could be through the increase of reps, increase of sets, decrease in rest time. So what type of workouts should you guys actually do? What type of exercises? So there's two types of exercises. So there's compounds and there's isolations. Compound it should be pretty easy to guess what it is regarding the name. So basically, compound exercises work more than one muscle group. For example, your bench press, it works your chest, shoulders, and triceps. Your pull ups, it works your back and biceps. So those are compound movements, and isolation movement is any type of movement that isolates, that targets just one muscle group, one specific muscle group. For example, side lateral raises work your side deltoids. Bicep curls, they work your biceps, and rep extensions overhead, they work out your triceps. So in order to program a proper training session, you should start off with compounds because those are the exercises that build up the most fatigue. Those are the exercises that are gonna and those are the exercises that are going to target the major muscle group. So basically, compound exercises should be 80% of the workout, while 20% should be isolations. You should always start off as a beginner. It is highly recommended to always start off with compound movements, and then maybe at the end work on some isolation movements. As the compounds actually build up more fatigue, you actually need more energy to push through your compound movements. That's why it's better to do them at the start. And then isolations, they don't really take that much energy or fatigue. That's why it's better to do in the beginning. It's better to do isolations at the end. Unless you're an advanced lifter and you have some weak points that you'd like to really bring up, there's no need to do isolation movements at the beginning. Discuss the rep ranges for building muscle. If you guys seen have you guys seen those diagrams where it says 1 to 5 reps is for strength, 8 to 12 reps is for muscle building slash hypertrophy, and plus 15 reps is for endurance. Well, to be honest, it doesn't really matter what rep range you use as long as it's between the 5 to 30 rep range and you're taking each muscle group to failure. So yeah, the only thing, I don't think rep ranges matter that much. You can do heavyweight low reps. You can do heavyweight low reps, or you can do high reps and low weight. As long as you're taking the muscle to complete failure, you're still gonna build muscle. Regarding the rep range. So, but my advice for you guys is to stay between the 5 to 30 rep range in order to build muscle. Don't go below 5 reps. Don't go over 30 reps. And that's the optimal rep range in order for you guys to make progress. Another thing in regards to training is the use of protective equipment such as lifting belts, wrist wraps. What else is there? Yeah, that's about it. So basically, the only thing I use is probably a lifting belt. The reason for this is whenever I do any compound movement, it hurts my lower back. So yeah, whenever I do any type of overhead press or any type of squat, I'm always using a lifting belt to protect myself from any type of injury. Wrist wraps. So let me tell you something about wrist wraps. So the reason why people use wrist wraps is to take their force. So say for example they're doing a back movement such as lat pull down, they use wrist wraps in order to take the tension away from their forearms and put it more into their back. So in my opinion, it's not really necessary to use wrist wraps, but if you guys want to if you guys really want to, you guys can go ahead. So the last aspect that I want to talk about in regards to training, and this might seem more important than you guys may think, is understanding muscle anatomy. What do I mean by muscle anatomy? Basically, what each muscle consists of. So, for example, your shoulders have 3 heads. There's the front head, there's the side head, and there's the rear head. Your chest, it also has three parts. It's the upper chest, also known as the clavicular head, the your mid chest, also known as the sternum, and your lower chest, also known as the lower abdomen. So basically, it's important to understand muscle anatomy in order to get that balanced and proportionate physique. You know, you don't want your you don't want one head of your shoulder to be really massive and then the other two heads are lacking. You know, you just don't want that. It's not really gonna look good. People actually think that muscle anatomy is pretty difficult, but to be honest, it's not. It's not that difficult. It's pretty simple. If you guys want a video on muscle anatomy, let me know. So yeah, I can make a video on that, and it will be easier for you guys to understand what each muscle consists of. Let's go into the second aspect for bulking, which is nutrition. So in order to bulk up, you have to eat in a calorie surplus. You cannot gain muscle whilst being in a calorie deficit or eating at maintenance calories. Maybe if you're a beginner, you can gain muscle whilst eating at maintenance. But in order for optimal gains, in order for you to make the most progress in gaining muscle, you must be in a caloric surplus. So in order for you guys to be in a caloric surplus, you guys can do two things. So the first thing is tracking your calories, tracking your macros. This is the method which everyone recommends because it's the most efficient. So basically what you do, you go to a calorie calculator. You can find one online and you enter all your details, your age, height, weight, activity levels, and then they'll give you your maintenance calories. From there, from your maintenance calorie, you just add 200 to 300 calories more. So say for example your maintenance is 2500, then in order for you to be in a calorie surplus, you have to eat about 2700, 2800 calories. So yeah, around that range. The other method in regards to getting in a calorie surplus is what I did. So me, I don't track my calories, I don't track my macros because, to be honest, okay, I'll admit I'm a bit lazy to track my calories. So what I did was just increasing my portion size, So regarding the concept of progressive overload, see what I said, like increasing your weight, sets, reps. Yeah, I did the same at the dinner table. So basically, what I did was over time, I increased my portion sizes that I ate, and I also increased my meals. So back then, I used to eat like 3 meals, like probably 3 meals. Now I eat like 4 to 5 times a day. So with me adding in those two extra meals, I can easily get in another 200 to 300 calories, and that's gonna put me in a calorie surplus. And most of my foods which I eat are whole natural foods, not processed stuff. I barely go like eat Macca's or Hungry Jacks. Most of the stuff that I eat is whole natural foods. So I'll give you guys a list of natural foods in a minute. So basically, the concept that I use is something called the warrior diet. If you guys know Hamza, then you guys know that he's the one who came up with this. So it's basically where you eat a lot of food, but you just eat most of your sources of food comes from whole natural sources of food. Just like warriors eat. Like the reason why this is called the warrior diet is, if you guys think about it, how do you think soldiers ate? Do you think they ate Macca's? Do you think they ate burgers and chips all day? Or did they eat whole foods such as, chicken, eggs, rice, stuff like that? So whole foods can be separated into three categories: protein, carbs, and fats. There's some proteins and there's some carbs that are better for bulking, and there's some that are better for cutting. So I'll give you a list right now. Some of the most essential, some of the best protein sources for cutting are chicken, tuna, turkey breast, and cottage cheese. Some of the best protein sources for bulking is beef, steak, salmon, eggs, and tofu. Some of the best carb sources for bulking include pasta, bread, and oatmeal. And some of the best carb sources for cutting include rice and potatoes. You guys can use cutting foods in a bulking diet, but I don't think that's really gonna be that effective because you know the calories are a bit less. You're gonna have to eat more in order. You're gonna have to eat more of the cutting foods in order to bulk up. So in my opinion, it's much easier to stick to the bulking foods. I mean, if you guys want, like me, I still eat rice. I still eat rice, and that's a cutting food, and I'm still able to bulk up. So yeah, it can be done. You know, you can bulk using cutting foods. Yeah, as long as you increase the portion. Regarding fats, these are actually really important in order to regulate your hormones and increase your testosterone. Yeah, increasing your fats will also, yeah, fats are actually a good way of getting in a lot of calories, you know, because so I think 1 tablespoon of peanut butter has about like 500 to 1,000 calories or something. I'm not 100% sure, but just know that increasing more fats in your diet. Examples of fats include, you know, nuts, peanut butter, avocado, olive oil. Increasing fats in your diet can drastically increase your calories. Let me give you guys a few extra tips in regards to nutrition. So the first one is eating most of your foods from natural sources, such as the ones I've mentioned before, and eating just a small portion of foods that you enjoy. What I like to do is follow something called the 80-20 rule. So 80% of my foods, I'll take it from, you know, rice, potatoes, chicken, beef, oatmeal, and then the other 20%, I'll try and enjoy myself. So say for example, at the end of the day, you have 200 calories left and you have a sweet tooth, you have a craving for some ice cream, have that, you know, as long as you don't have it every single day, I'm pretty sure it's fine. It's not gonna mess you up. Also sustainable for a long term, because the thing is, you're gonna end up binge eating. If you get cravings all the time, you're actually gonna end up binge eating, and trust me, you don't want to be in that place where you just binge eating a lot of food and you gain a lot of extra weight, and most of that weight is fat. Then you're gonna have to do a long as cut to get that weight off. So yeah, it's better to, you know, to follow the 80-20 rule than to eat 100% clean. But if you have the discipline to eat 100% clean on your bulk, then that's fantastic, you know. So this tip that I'm about to say is for my hard gainers out there, you know, my ectomorphs, you know, for the people who find it really hard to, you know, pack on some size, pack on some muscle. I think this tip might help you. So basically, it's to focus more on eating carbs than eating protein. Let me tell you why. Protein is a really satiating food. So basically, if you eat protein, you're gonna get full really quickly, and it's gonna be harder for you to, you know, pack on more calories, to eat more calories. So what I suggest you guys to do is fill most of your plate with carbs and some with protein. So what I like to do is do 50% of my plate with carbs, 30% with proteins, and maybe 20% with fats. And also make sure you eat your carbohydrates first, so you know, you don't get full too quickly and you're able to eat more calories too. Because if you eat your protein before your carbs, you know, you're gonna be full really easily, and you're not gonna be able to, you know, consume the remaining amount of your calories. So in regards to supplements, they're called supplements for a reason. They should be supplementing your diet, not becoming your main, you know, not becoming your main meals. So basically, most of your food should be from real foods, not from, you know, pills and powders. But if you guys want to know, the supplements I take are only protein powder and creatine. Let me tell you why I take those two supplements only. So first of all, creatine. Creatine is actually the most researched supplement in the past decade, and it has known to provide many benefits, such as, increased muscle mass, increased strength, as well as increased brain function. To be honest, everyone should be taking creatine, even your parents, even if you're a non-lifter, you should still be taking creatine because of the added benefits that it has. So the second supplement that I take is protein powder. To be honest, this one it's not necessary, but it's just an easy way to get more protein in. So say for example, at the end of the day you're missing like 50 grams of protein, and yeah, you need to go to sleep or something. You can just have a protein shake, 2 scoops of whey protein. I think that's 25 grams each, and yeah, that'll help you reach your protein goals. But other than that, I don't think it's really necessary in order to take. But yeah, it's just an easy way to hit your protein goals at the end of the day. So the last important factor in order to be able to gain muscle effectively is recovery. Specifically, two things: sleep and rest days. Many people think you need all this, fancy stuff such as ice baths, massage guns, what else, saunas. You don't really need that. I mean, it can help, but if you don't have the basics are basically just sleep and rest days. If you don't have those two, then don't worry about the other factors. Don't worry about any massage guns, don't worry about getting going to the sauna. Just don't worry about that. Just focus on getting enough sleep as well as rest days. So for sleep, it is recommended that you get at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep every single night. Sleep actually helps in, like, if you don't get enough sleep, you won't be able to build muscle if you won't be able to build muscle optimally. And a decrease in sleep can also lead to a decrease in testosterone levels, and testosterone levels is what actually like helps your muscles grow. So if you don't get enough sleep, you're gonna have lower testosterone, and that's actually gonna affect your muscle growth. So regarding rest days are actually really underrated. You've heard a lot of misconceptions about rest days. People say like, oh, the more you train, the better. But that's simply not true. It's not about how much you train, but it's about how hard you train. So it doesn't matter if you're training like 7 days a week, 6, 7 days a week, but all the training you're doing, you're not putting your all. Like you're just going to the gym, and most of the days you're just slacking off. You feel tired. You're not giving it your all. You're not gonna be able to build muscle efficiently. That's where rest days come in. See, if you give yourself a whole day to rest, like to recover, the next day you're gonna come into training full fresh and full on energized, and you're gonna be able to train at a high intensity. Trust me, guys, I can tell from experience. I remember training 6 days. There's a reason why I switched from the push pull leg split to the upper lower split. There's a reason why I started. How do I explain this? There's a reason why I switched from a 6 day split to a 4 day split. That's because I remember when I was training 6 days a week, every time every set that I was doing, it wasn't like I couldn't give it my all, because I was still sore and I was still fatigued from the previous day before. But then when I switched to a 4 day split, so I increased my rest day from 1 day a week to 3 days a week. That's when my gains really started to increase. Because the thing is, rest is where your muscle actually grows. So if you don't have enough rest days, you're not giving your muscles enough time to recover and grow. I also used to remember before when I used to do 3 days a week full 3 days a week full body workout. That's when my gains actually started to increase as well, because I was only training 3 days a week, and I was giving myself 4 days to rest and recover. So every time I actually went into train, I could train at full intensity. I could train hard. I could go to failure in almost every single set, and yeah, I was able to build muscle that way. And also, rest days actually give you a balance to everything in your life. So say for example, you got assignments or you got homework, you can just do that on your rest days instead of having to worry about what you're gonna train. Alright, so to conclude the video, the three aspects in order to be able to bulk up efficiently and build muscle are training, is proper training, nutrition, and recovery. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.